Episode 56 im September 8, 2023. 2 open-burning Louisiana deaths during wildfires and activist dies of immune system disorder. ROSEP View, the first official report card on the Global Climate Treaty was released. 3 takeaways. 1. Carbon emissions are still climbing. 2. Concrete financial goals are missing from the report. Point 3. The United Arab Emirates are pushing carbon capture instead of ending use of fossil fuels. According to the article below, with a photo of Sultan Al Jaber, president of the COP28 climate meeting in November, in Nairobi this week for the first Africa Climate Summit from September 4 to 6, 2023. Mr. Al Jaber has said he wants countries to triple renewable energy capacity by 2030. ROSEP believes that if the slowing of the rise in greenhouse gases comes from replacing coal burning, then the slowing of emissions from turning to this dirty renewable, wood, are only on paper, not in reality. Wood burning emissions of CO2, a greenhouse gas, and PM 2.5 are not counted toward any country in the world's climate goals. Wood burning emissions are not mentioned in this article. On the other hand, biomass, wood, burning is not explicitly presented in this article as a climate solution. The words renewable energy are tricky. Are they talking about clean renewable energy like wind, solar and geothermal, or do they lump particulate and CO2-emitting biomass wood burning in when they talk about renewables? 3. Quote from the article. 1. The World Resources Institute says carbon emissions are still climbing. The United Nations polite prose glosses over what is a truly damning report card for global climate efforts, said the president of the World Resources Institute. Carbon emissions? Still climbing. Rich countries' finance commitments? Delinquent. 2. A German climate scientist and founding partner of New Climate Institute would like more concrete emission cutback and financial support goals. 3. Unabated fossil fuels refers to fossil fuel emissions without employing carbon capture after the fact. Carbon capture is being promoted by the United Arab Emirates, rather than ending use of fossil fuels entirely. Mr. Al Jaber of the United Arab Emirates, UAE, wants nations to agree, for the first time, on a long-term goal of phasing out unabated fossil fuels. That phrasing would allow for the continued use of oil, coal, or gas if companies can capture and abate, the emissions those fuels produce, a technology that has struggled to gain traction because of high costs. ROSEP also believes that its track record shows that carbon capture does not work in addition to being prohibitively expensive. Just stop burning solid fuels, including coal and wood. World https://www.newyorktimes.com/2023/09/08/climate/paris-agreement-stocktake.html? Climate report card says countries are trying, but urgently need improvement. The global assessment, 2 years in the making, is the first official gauge of progress under the 2015 Paris Agreement. While many of the worst outcomes feared in the 2010s appear less likely today, the report said, current efforts are still not enough to avoid calamity. September 8, 2023. Accepts edited by ROSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. 8 years after world leaders approved a landmark agreement in Paris in 2015 to fight climate change, countries have made only limited progress in staving off the most dangerous effects of global warming, according to the first official report card on the Global Climate Treaty. Many of the worst-case climate change scenarios from the early 2010s look less likely today. The authors partly credit the 2015 Paris Agreement, when, for the first time, almost every country agreed to submit a voluntary plan to curb its own planet-warming emissions. Since 2015, the rise in global greenhouse gases has notably slowed. The report was written by representatives from the United States and South Africa and based on contributions from hundreds of governments, scientists, and civil society groups from around the world. The new report is part of the global stocktake. When countries approved the Paris Agreement, they agreed to meet every 5 years, starting in 2023. The report, nearly 2 years in the making, will be discussed at the United Nations climate negotiations, known as COP28, that in November and December 2023 in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. Nations sharply disagree over who should do more. Developing countries like India say that wealthy emitters like the United States and Europe should curtail their fossil fuel use more rapidly. U.S. officials often point out that China needs to do more. The man overseeing this year's negotiations, Sultan Al Jaber, is the head of both the Emirates' biggest renewable energy company and its national oil company, a dual role that has provoked criticism from many environmentalists, who say he is unlikely to be an impartial mediator. Developing nations say they can't afford to shift rapidly away from fossil fuels without outside help. Under the Paris deal, wealthy emitters like the United States and Europe vowed to provide developing countries $100 billion per year from public and private sources by 2020, which they have not yet done. In 2020, industrialized countries provided $83.3 billion in climate finance. Louisiana. 2 people over 70 who died during the news coverage of the Louisiana wildfires did not die directly from the wildfire smoke, but instead died practicing open burning in their own yards, as wildfires raged nearby. One man, aged 72, had several open burning piles in his yard when he died inside his burning house. The news story included details about the open burning piles, so reporters in Louisiana seem to connect the open burning deaths to the Louisiana wildfire story. To quote the news article, in the first case, on August 17, 2023, in Washington Parish, Louisiana, a body believed to be that of a 72-year-old man with mobility challenges was found in the burned remains of his home. Deputies believe the fire began outside his home, where they found evidence of several burn piles on the property, some just feet away. They have been unable to determine which of the piles, if any, had been active, the office said. The second person mentioned in the Louisiana wildfire news story was an 84-year-old woman who died when she fell into the lit open burning pile in her own backyard. To quote the news story about the 84-year-old woman, on August 27, 2023 in St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana, a deputy was driving in the Folsom area when he spotted a brush fire that had spread to a shed. Crews that were called to extinguish the fire found an unconscious woman, who was taken to a New Orleans hospital in critical condition. She later died. The office said the woman, 84, was believed to have been actively burning a debris pile when she fell into the fire. Her stepdaughter told the local news channel WWL-TV that she had early symptoms of dementia. "I couldn't get her to understand," she said, adding, "I think she kept forgetting how dangerous it was." The office said that it was still investigating the 2 deaths. Property damage, 1 house burning and 1 shed burning, from open burning. Property damage was the factor that alerted authorities and caused them to find that people had died in the fires set intentionally, perhaps to dispose of fallen branches or other debris, perhaps a long habit that could not be broken, even after entreaties from family members to stop this dangerous practice. Our condolences go out to the families of the victims. This story does not mention that wood smoke is 90% PM2.5, particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, which is the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, causing a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Wildfires burn across Louisiana, killing 2. https://www.newyorktimes.com/2023/08/29/us/louisiana-wildfires-tiger-island.html ? The wildfires in southwestern Louisiana are among the worst in the state's history and have burned an estimated 60,000 acres. Fires burning in Beauregard Parish, La, forced 1,200 residents in the town of Maryville to evacuate on Thursday, August 29, 2023. Hundreds of wildfires burning across Louisiana have killed 2 people and burned through an estimated 60,000 acres of land, state officials said on Tuesday as they warned that the dangerously dry conditions are expected to continue. The biggest of the wildfires, the Tiger Island Fire, in southwest Louisiana near the Texas border, has been burning for a week, engulfing more than 30,000 acres since August 22, 2023. As of Tuesday, August 31, 2023, it was just 50% contained, local officials said. Excepts edited by ROSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. It is one of the worst wildfires that we've seen since at least the Second World War, Governor John Bel Edwards said at a news conference. Louisiana has seen nearly 600 fires in August, exacerbated by triple-digit temperatures that broke records in parts of the state and the strongest drought that we've ever recorded, Mr. Edwards said. Fires in Louisiana. Burning in the last day. Previously burned. Source: NASA notes, data is as of September 6, 2023. Areas marked in red indicate where active burning was detected within 24 hours of the most recent fires reflected on the map. Exact fire boundaries may differ from the map by 500 meters or more. Louisiana Governor Edwards said, "This is the new normal with climate change," state officials said on August 29, 2023 as they pleaded with the public to comply with a statewide ban on any private burning. As of Friday, the ban now extends to all agricultural burning, barbecues, campfires, and fire pits. Conditions are still very dangerous, the Louisiana Office of State Fire Marshal said on Facebook on August 29, 2023. Canada, British Columbia. A Facebook post. Good afternoon everyone, I'm afraid I have some sad news. Group member Wendy Harris of Blaine, Washington, passed away on August 31, 2023. She had been fighting air pollution, especially wood smoke, for many years and suffering the consequences of that pollution, yet she remained a fierce advocate for healthy environments to the very end. Her passion will be missed dearly. Environmental rabble-rouser spent lifetime fighting for clean water. https://www.cascadiadaily.com/news/2023/sep/06/environmental-rabble-rouser-spent-clean-water excerpts edited by ROSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. Longtime Blaine resident Wendy Harris died on August 31, 2023. Washington, Whatcom County, September 6, 2023. Wendy Harris's mugshot for her column titled, "No Net Loss," she wrote for Whatcom Watch between 2012 and 2014. She passed away August 31, 2023. There were times when Wendy Harris was her own worst enemy, passionate to the point of exhaustion, unwilling to compromise her beliefs for the sake of incremental progress, unwavering in her criticism of city and county leadership and fastidious in her journalistic efforts to report on Whatcom County's environment. Harris, a longtime Blaine resident, passed away at the age of 62 on Thursday, August 31. The Whatcom County Medical Examiner said Harris died of natural causes related to hypersensitivity pneumonitis, an immune system disorder that affects the lungs. She spent her lifetime championing environmental causes, fighting for clean water and increased wildlife and habitat protections. When she moved to Whatcom County almost 2 decades ago, she had little background or knowledge of environmental protections. She liked to joke that she didn't know what a watershed was. When she first got involved in activism, she told the Cascadia Weekly in 2013. But that didn't stop her from learning. I remember having coffee with her soon after she got here, I'm guessing about 16 years ago now, and just talking about environmental issues in Whatcom County, said Eric Hurst, a local environmental activist and retired engineer. It was clear even then she was smart, she really cared about the issues, wanted to learn a lot, and she wanted to be useful. Hurst worked alongside Harris in the ensuing 15 years, participating in the same Environmental Caucus and WRIA-1 Watershed Management Project meetings. They even joined a 2016 lawsuit against Whatcom County together, today known as the Hurst Decision, over the Growth Management Act. Harris was one of 5 plaintiffs in Whatcom County versus Hurst, FutureWise, et al., alleging the county failed to comply with State Growth Management Act requirements to protect water resources. The Washington State Supreme Court sided with Hurst and Harris. Friends of Harris described her as a thorn in the side of Whatcom County leadership and beyond. That Hurst decision, that was the biggest thorn, I think, Mimi K. said Wednesday, September 6. She paid such close attention. She questioned everything, and pointed out irregularities. Her dogged commitment to environmental causes and her relentless pursuit of truth made her, at times, unpopular with local leadership who sought to increase growth and development strategies. That commitment to protecting nature eventually led Harris to citizen journalism. Her platform, a Facebook group known as Whatcom Hawk, which eventually spun out into other environmental groups. As leader of the Hawk, Harris tracked every county council meeting, reported on shifts in local policy and detailed new developments that may harm Whatcom's sensitive ecosystem. In 2013, she was the first recipient of the Paul Dearmond Citizen Journalism Award for her keen attention to city and county policy. The award was named in memory of Bellingham activist Paul Dearmond, who passed away in 2013. I am not sure I ever chose citizen journalism, Harris said in a February 2014 speech when she accepted the award. As an observer and a perpetual outsider, it is probably more accurate to say that citizen journalism chose me. And this is not completely surprising. I believe a defining characteristic of citizen journalism is that it is the domain of those who challenge the status quo. And challenge the status quo she did. She was perhaps the most passionate and, dare I say, the most committed rabble-rouser tracking Whatcom County water issues that I encountered, WRIA-1 Planning Unit member Alexander Harris, no relation, said Tuesday, September 5. She was unscripted and unapologetic in her belief that we are not doing enough. Alexander, who works at local environmental nonprofit RE Sources, added that he's never met anyone quite like her. She was fierce and committed and passionate. https://nwcitizen.com/entry/a-tribute-to-Wendy-Harris/P2550 A tribute to Wendy Harris. We reprint the 2014 speech she gave upon accepting the Paul Dearmond Award. By NW Citizen Management September 5, 2023. Wendy Harris passed away last week from a respiratory illness she had battled for years. Wendy was well known for her civic participation in both Bellingham and Whatcom County. She was a dedicated environmentalist, a friend to all animals, a fearless writer, and an outspoken critic on civic issues in Bellingham and Whatcom County. For many years, Wendy was a force to be reckoned with as she wrote for NW Citizen, the Whatcom Watch, and other local publications. Her critical thinking, sound analysis, and her voice will be missed. We were proud to have you, Wendy. Below is a reprint of her speech from 2014 when she received the Paul Dearmond Award for Citizen Journalism. The speech was posted then, and we think it appropriate to repost it now. Wendy Harris speech of February 7, 2014. Personal Reflections on Citizen Journalism. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. I am especially appreciative of the fact that I am receiving this award while I am still alive. I am not sure I ever chose citizen journalism. As a sociology student at Berkeley, I learned that people in power enact laws and policies that keep themselves in power. This is a universal truth. In a free society, people support the status quo, and work within the system to make things a little more to their liking. They join local task forces, stakeholder groups, and neighborhood associations, they volunteer for community projects, and they are appointed to citizen boards and commissions. These are all actions inherently calculated to support the status quo. And when you join these efforts, even if you do not know it, you have already chosen your side. You are upholding existing values and beliefs. Even the idea that we are working to improve things has as its foundation the belief that what we are improving is worth keeping. These are the values reflected in our free press. Because mainstream journalists, like most of us, have unconsciously and often unquestioningly internalized these values as we grew up, the result is a system that appears so credible and so free. The range of political perspectives and interests, and the degree of citizen involvement, creates the illusion that our system of government is more mutable and more responsive than it really is. There are some of us who believe that the emperor is wearing no clothes. We are the people who watch. We are the people who question. We are the people who challenge. And we are the people who remain outside our community's circle of trust. We have been free to speak, but until now, we have struggled to have our voices heard. Our comments and concerns are muffled in a cultural filter that marginalizes and discredits all those who challenge the status quo, without separation or distinction. It does not matter how eloquently we speak, the strength of our analysis, or the truth of our assertions. To those inside the circle of trust, everyone on the outside looks crazy and everyone looks the same. For me, citizen journalism begins the moment we stop addressing those within the circle of trust and start addressing each other, in our distinct and separate voices. As J. Rosen famously stated, citizen journalism occurs when the people, formerly known as the audience, use the tools of technology to begin educating each other. While this is where citizen journalism begins, it is also where, in many ways, our most difficult struggle also begins. Citizen journalism gives everyone a voice, but as the Tea Party has shown us, not every voice is of equal value. Citizen journalism can be transformative, but it is naive to believe that all change is positive. As the first wave of citizen journalists and advocates for a democratic society, we must challenge not only the status quo, but the potential abuses of the new tools we are using to empower ourselves in that fight. It is not enough to make things better, we must also ensure they do not become worse. That is an extraordinary, perhaps even unprecedented challenge to embrace. We need to recognize and honor that challenge. How do we do that? By doing exactly what we are doing now, supporting each other, talking about these issues, accepting a heavy burden of responsibility toward the public, engaging in critical thinking and sound analysis, incorporating science and research into our work, and trying to maintain a level of civil discourse while continuing to watch, question, and challenge. I am really proud to be part of a group aspiring to these goals, and I hope I will continue to make you proud of me. A letter sent on August 28, 2023 to the Assistant Attorney Generals threatening to sue the EPA over wood stove certification follows. Dear Assistant Attorney General, attached is a letter that was sent to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, Director Dr. Jean Marazzo, former Acting NIAID Director Dr. Hugh Auchincloss and National Institutes of Health, NIH. Director Dr. Lawrence Tabak regarding regulation and the ability to shut down PM 2.5 polluting indoor residential wood burners. PM2.5 pollution is known to cause antibiotic resistance, making infectious disease pandemics more likely and uncontrollable. The letter asks Dr. Marazzo to apply a parallel track to indoor residential wood-burning pollution in 2023. This parallel track would include both EPA wood stove certification and a complaint-based system using Purple Air PM2.5 monitor data collected from the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. This would be a way to address the very real impact of PM2.5 pollution which EPA wood stove certification fails to address. We proposed that the use of Purple Air monitors would provide important data on PM2.5 air pollution that is currently missing in the EPA wood stove certification. This proposal is modeled on the approach Dr. Anthony Fauci used in 1989 that allowed a parallel track of both the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, use of AZT for AIDS that had the unfortunate side effect of blindness along with a second drug, ganciclovir, that actually cured the blindness. An earlier letter sent to your office asked that you include a complaint-based system of regulating indoor residential wood burning using Purple Air PM2.5 data in your suit against the EPA. Indoor residential wood burners are already ineffectively certified by the EPA. This violates the EPA's own National Ambient Air Quality Standards, NOx, emission limits of 35 micrograms per cubic meter in a 24-hour period. Using data from Purple Air PM2.5 monitors in the yards of near neighbors who complain of PM2.5 from hyperlocalized indoor residential wood burners would provide the missing and important evidence of this type of air pollution. Currently, if a near neighbor's complaint is made to a local health department, a complaint using federal NOx exceedance data is not considered as a basis for a complaint against neighboring indoor residential wood burning. It is also not considered as a basis for shutting down the wood-burning appliance when the indoor residential wood stove has been federally EPA certified. Lawsuits for nuisance are expensive and beyond the means of the average American and are not considered precedents in courts generally. Contacting state agencies to shut down polluting wood stove use that affects the health and lives of near neighbors has been unproductive because decisions made by the EPA determine the decisions made by state agencies. Although the scope of your lawsuit seems confined to asking the EPA to continue their wood stove certification program as is, albeit at a faster pace, we ask that you consider the intent behind asking the EPA to tighten their standards for wood stove certification on a regular basis. The intent of an environmental protection agency is to protect the environment. This has perhaps been narrowly construed to be protecting air, water and ground from contamination from industries only. But United States citizens should actually benefit from this environmental protection as well. Tightening wood stove standards on a regular basis should result in protecting the environment as well as protecting United States citizens from harm from the air, water, and ground. We believe that the EPA's responsibilities are inextricably connected with public health responsibilities of other government agencies such as NIAID. Please try to accomplish something meaningful for the American people with this lawsuit by considering using a parallel track to include PM2.5 data in future decisions about air quality standards. Although I am not your constituent, by commencing to sue a federal agency you are representing me as a citizen of the United States and in that sense as your constituent. Thank you. Sent to Cody.Doig@alaska.gov. Alaska Senior Assistant Attorney General Cody Doig. Jason.James@ilag.gov. Illinois Assistant Attorney General Jason James. Goldstein@oag.state.md.us. Maryland Special Assistant Attorney General Stephen Goldstein. Turner.Smith@mass.gov. Massachusetts Assistant Attorney General Turner Smith. Peter.Serdo@ag.state.mn.us. Minnesota Special Assistant Attorney General Peter Serdo. Lisa.Morelli@law.njoag.gov. New Jersey Deputy Attorney General Lisa Morelli. Nicholas.Batino@ag.newyork.gov. New York Assistant Attorney General Nicholas Batino. Paul.Garahan at doj.state.or.us Oregon Attorney in Charge Paul Garahan. Steve.Novick at doj.state.or.us Oregon Special Assistant Attorney General Steve Novick. Nick.Persumpieri at vermont.gov Vermont Assistant Attorney General Nick Persumpieri. Caroline.Kress at atg.wa.gov Washington Assistant Attorney General Caroline Kress. Chris.Wrights at atg.wa.gov Washington Assistant Attorney General Chris Wrights. Jennifer at cleanair.gov General Counsel, Puget Sound Clean Air Agency Jennifer A. Dold. Jean.Marazzo at nih.gov Director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Jean Marazzo. Hugh.Auchincloss at nih.gov January to July 2023 Acting Director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Hugh Auchincloss. Lawrence.Tabak at nih.gov Director of the National Institutes of Health Lawrence Tabak. https://ROSC Presidentes WordPress.com/ Please attach PDF letter to NAID Director Dr. Jean Marazzo to an email from you to Jean Marazzo NIH.gov/. Episode 56 GF July 19, 2023. The Ask, request a complaint-based system from 10 attorney generals suing the EPA to give wood stove users certainty. The Ask, emails of 3 NIH officials Jean.Marazzo at nih.gov, Hugh.Auchincloss at nih.gov, Lawrence.Tabak at nih.gov emails of 13 assistant attorney generals, deputy attorney generals and general counsel preparing to sue the EPA to provide clarity for indoor residential wood stove manufacturers, vendors, and users. Instead, the Assistant Attorneys General should ask for a PM 2.5 pollution complaint-based system in place of the failed wood stove certification program. The states involved are Alaska, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington, as well as the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency. A new icon has been added to the RAWSE President's website, which is now the nearest right icon. The icon is an ask that has already been described in episode 56 GB, description of the parties who should be at the table when deciding on safe wood stove emission limits and fence line measurements, rather than wood stove certification, and emails to contact 10 deputy or assistant attorney generals and 1 general counsel. Those PDFs are included at the icon link. Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, see https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com and click on the nearest right icon for the Ask. 1. Email PDF letters to 3 officials of the National Institutes of Health, NIH. And NIAID https://ROSCPresidentesWordPress.com/ Please attach PDF letter to NIAID Director Dr. Jean Marazzo to an email from you to Jean Marazzo NIH.gov/ The Ask 2. Email PDF letters to 13 Assistant Attorneys Generals, Deputy Attorney Generals and General Counsel https:// Rossi Presidentes WordPress.com/ Please contact Attorneys General about August suit versus EPA asking for certainty for wood stove users. ROSEP asks for complaint-based system based on PM monitor data exceeding EP/ to the right of that 3. Barbie goes to the dating game. https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-Barbie-goes-to-the-dating-game to the right of that 4. Cookies that may contain rocks are recalled. https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/cookies-that-may-contain-rocks-are- recalled. To the right of that 5. The Fox Owns the Forest card game. https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/the-fox-owns-the-forest-card-game-tba. Then to the right of that, the latest months, 6, September and 7, August and 8, July 2023. Of PDFs of articles with URLs to search on https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-september-2023-pdfs-of-urls https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-august-2023-pdfs-of-urls and https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-july-2023-pdfs-of-urls to the right. Of that, 9. Stickers to handout for ROSEP, 10. Flyers to handout for ROSEP, games such as 11, Bingo for ROSEP, 12, Crosswords for ROSEP 13, PM 2.5's Jeopardy free game https://youtube.be/lnsg32pydnc 14. PM 2.5 Free Monopoly https://youtube.be/cuck1pseqnq and Endwood Smoke Monopoly 9e, vending machines for PM 2.5 monitors, and 15. Icon links to 30-minute YouTube videos and Spotify podcasts as well as podcasts.google.com, Castbox, and Pocketcast. Pocketcast is only free on the phone app. Pocket Cast works on Apple phones, and, below those icons, icon links to monthly URLs of PDFs from June 2023 to May 2022.